We have been given the final countdown, so good luck to both ozipone and Furaime in this race number 2, and may the random number gods be in your favor.
And away we go.
Both
are up. Yeah, both. Oh, I thought Furaime went to Sanctuary, so we got a bottle.
Yeah, we got a bottle with a B-Torp in Link's house.
Not a golden bee though, so we can't sell it. I'm gonna go check the highly alleged real quick. Piece of heart, we're not gonna see it.
Nope. Ozipone checking bonk rocks, and we got a lamp.
So while a bunch of minor glitches and such are accounted for in the logic, things like bomb jumps and dark rooms are not. So lamp is still logically required for certain chests in Palace of Darkness, for rescuing the old man on Death Mountain, and whatnot. Oh, and we get a nice early bomb tree pole, so that's pretty handy.
And it looks like Green Pendant is going to be in Thieves Town today.
What do we got on the Lumberjack Ledge? It's Piece of Heart. So it looks like Aga is going to stay alive today.
Alright, so Furaime heads back to Sanctuary while ozipone is checking Lost Woods. We just got a 5-arrow upgrade in Lost Woods itself, and now we're going to see what's in the shack. And it's a red meringue.
That bottle seems like it's going to help out Furaime a bit, as it might reduce the number of checks to Kakariko Village, getting that all done in one trip, or possibly two, depending on where the powder or mushroom is. But who knows, we might find one early on here in the town.
Alright, let's see what we got in Blind Hut today. We got a early 2-minute sword and a cape. Now, under normal circumstances, we'd be quivering in our boots because that pretty much means Aga 1 could be in our future. But given with the way Overworld glitches works, realistically, you're not going to see it because without needing the Lumberjack Ledge, you can pretty much get into the Dark World no matter what.
You know, the one thing, I guess there's one way that Aghanim could be required, and that's if the mirror is on... if the mirror or pearl is on the pyramid and locks the other. That's the only reason I could see Aghanim being required. But even in that case, you could do some out-of-logic clips, or with the bottle, wind up using it for a fake flute, and go and get it anyway. Well, there's our mirror. So there goes that train of thought.
Well, it was fun while it lasted.
So with the mirror, that actually opens up a fair amount of Dark World as the bunny, because we can get off of Death Mountain using it by what we call a mirror clip, which is where we use the differences in the overworld between Light World and Dark World to hop ledges and go out of bounds. Just a bomb upgrade on the library. So what do we have for the race game? And actually, with the fire source that ozipone has, he could go and fully clear out Desert Palace right now, if he wanted to.
Alright, and ozipone is going to clip down, see there's a piece of heart on the desert ledge, and make his way into desert proper. And actually with that early lamp, desert is full clearable at this point.
And it being an early crystal that our runners can grab, that's pretty nice bit of completion that we can do right now. We get the big key on the torch, which is convenience rather than being on the other side of the dungeon.
And Sick Kid only having $5 means ozipone not having a early bottle is not going to set him back so far.
It's still going to be a bit of a time investment to go check it again later, because I'm sure he will.
Alright, small key had to be there given the way the layout was set up, so... I don't think we've seen an item yet in desert.
No, we've only seen the compass and the 2 keys.
And
there's the map.
Which means Lambo's gonna have an item. And Master Sword as the other item.
Well, that should make the fight a bit easier, at the very least with beams and spins. Come on, ozipone, you should know how to get in here. There you go, you almost got it. You just gotta clip all the way until he hops. There's no kind of teleports or weird shenanigans. It's super simple.
I think I'd have to imagine with the fact that Hera being a crystal, I mean, you could certainly do South Shore, but with that Master Sword, I wouldn't be surprised if we see one of the runners head to Death Mountain immediately after finishing off Lamulus.
With the mirror in hand, that actually does sound pretty good, because there is a clip you can go to, basically go from the top of Death Mountain all the way down to Swamp pretty quickly. Then you correct your camera in the Swamp Palace itself, and then you can just go to Hype Cave, then down to a mini Moldorm and such. Could cut out a lot of the travel time if you go with that route.
Alright, one snake down for ozipone.
Took some damage, so unfortunately no more beams. And I believe the slashes are as strong as pokes would be, or the beams themselves, considering how the weird damage tables for the Light World bosses wind up.
But ozipone gets it done, and in 8 hours and 45 seconds, we have the first crystal of the game.
Hours? Wow, we've been here a long time.
8 minutes and 45 seconds, sorry.
That's fine.
I'm starting early today with the misquotes. But ozipone picking up that B-Torp and is just... Oh, since we got the shovel in Kakariko, is gonna go and check what's at the dig spot.
Yeah, and he had to save and quit after killing Lanmolas, because you actually can't get out of that little space where the rocks block you. There's no way to clip out of there once you're there. So, save and quit was required, and it's going to be interesting to see if he decides to go and turn in the bottle to the Sick Kid immediately. Seems to be, because there's not... Or, I guess he's going to check the K-45 here, or Flute Girl, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm. Furaime trying to use that B-Torp on Lamb Molest, but doesn't seem to be working. We got 300 bucks at South Grove Cave, so that's Zora money for ozipone.
Yeah, sadly, bees only work on Mothula in terms of bosses.
Somebody get the bug spray, please.
Now, I'm curious if in the regular game the bee would persist throughout the entirety of the crystal cutscene there. I have no idea if that's the case. That'd be funny if it were, just to hear the buzzing as the maiden is trying to talk to you.
Somebody in chat asking, does Red Meringue hurt the Lambo boss? My understanding is it's only the Armos Knights that can damage, that can be damaged by the boomerang, and to be perfectly honest, I didn't even know that was a thing until last week.
Yeah, and that is not the ideal fight for sure, because each of these 6 Armos has 48 HP, and the boomerang does 1 damage. So it's quite the long fight if you ever had to do it.
Yeah, pretty much the reason why they had to do it was because with it being overworld glitches and making an early trip into GT and not having the bow and fighter sword, it was kind of like, yeah, trying to ice skate with the sword spins versus a boomerang. Yeah, we're gonna take the boomerang.
Alright, so we are getting a look at the South Shore. We already saw the dam. Nothing really important there. But now we get to see these 5 chests. What do we get?
Power glove and a bottle of blue goo. Ether medallion. Fisher Price My First Shield, and a boomerang. Wow!
Alright, we get the better boomerang, a medallion, a free fake flute, and a power glove. So that's a pretty good cave there.
Very much hype. So you would have to imagine ozipone is going to do Ice Rock Cave, then probably do a water walk from here to check the Zora area.
Seems logical.
And actually, ozipone forgot to set up that, and now he gets it. You might actually be able to answer this for me, but why do they have to, like, from the edge, be able to do that, basically get, pushed that certain way in order for the water walk to set up?
Well, it turns out that water walk is actually a variation of the state where Link is about to fall into a hole, and it's just the dash out of the cave makes it so that that value is still the same as you exit it. And then just, as long as you don't disarm it prematurely, then just performing the water walk allows, or just hopping south, allows you to walk on top of water.
That makes sense.
There's actually another state that's similar to the water walking that we call the falling Link states glitch, where if you die on the same frame that you go down a hole that takes you to another room in the underworld, and then exit immediately, you wind up in this state where Link is kind of just his falling state, and he moves around at about dash speed, but only if you have the up direction or down direction held alongside it. So it's a very weird state.
Things I learned today.
Anyway, we're up here in the waterfall cave. Not much value there.
Nope. Zora Ledge just having a heart container. Alright, so there once was a fish named Zora who gives you flippers and vanilla. And Rando, he sucks for 500 bucks. We did this stupid trek for 20 bucks.
Alright, so now we get to see which Death Mountain Ascent will Ozipone choose. I imagine he's going to go for the classic one, because that's the one that everybody uses for the... oh, looks like he's going for the Back of Escape first, thanks to those gloves that he found in the South Shore.
And there's a small key. I imagine you would do the, imagine from here, you go check the sewer chest.
Especially with the lamp in hand. Now, sadly, he can't get out of the sewers from the back here, so he's going to have to save and quit after getting this chest. And it's only got the map.
And Furaime, having spent that B-Torp, gonna check Waterfall of Wishing, and it's a green potion today.
Seems pretty good. Now, that could be used for some other shenanigans, or just as a refill for, say, the Cold Stare boss fight. Although, I'm hoping for some shenanigans.
Shenanigans are always fun. Alright, back to what you were saying about clipping into Death Mountain.
So what Ozipone is going to do here is teleport over the transition north, and then go off to the side. Now, he needs to correct his camera here. Otherwise, if he tries to enter the cave prematurely, the transition winds up taking about 2 minutes. So you kind of want to correct that first.
Which he does, and now he's going to go rescue an old man.
I'm going to go check the Back of Escape. Curious to see if he goes for the Dark Chest the same way that Ozipone did. And we get our 3rd sword upgrade. Wow.
I mean, that's what I've seen. This is, again, all anecdotal, but this is what I've seen in a lot of these races in Overworld glitches. It's either Tempered Sword within 15 minutes or Fighter Sword in, like, an hour.
I think that's just Rando in general.
Either way, Ozipone is going to clip into Tower of Hera, and with it being a crystal and you got the Fire Source for your coffee break, I imagine he's going to scale this tower.
Also, the Moldorm fight is going to be really easy with that Tempered Sword in hand.
Alright, so we got a single green rupee to start in the basement, and there's the big key, so that coffee break is on hold. Furaime has pretty much been on Ozipone's heels for most of the race. I mean, Furaime just basically the only difference being going to check Lake Hylia and Sahasrah's closet, so it seems like it's going to be pretty linear to start, half magic and Hera, but it's going to be interesting to see where the divergence starts.
Well, there's already a little bit of divergence. Furaime decided to do a Death Mountain Ascent that goes directly into Hera, so he's not going to have the advantage of the Tempered Sword for the Moldorm fight, but will still be able to complete the dungeon fully.
Speaking of that Trolldorm,
just a spin, and a slash.
But
oh no.
Trolled again!
Let's try that again.
Alright, spin first!
There's the slash.
And down goes Trolldorm for Ozipone.
Uh-oh. Missed the bumper skip a little bit there.
Just a big 20 outside of Spectacle Rock, and now his opponent's going to show us what is inside.
Just another piece of heart. We're winding up skipping up a few of these, so I hope we're going to have enough health for some later stuff in the Dark World.
I mean, to be honest, I suck at this game, and I would be grabbing any heart pieces I could get. Inside of Spectacle Rock is one of the ones I would probably avoid, just because the time loss.
That time loss is a bit minimized in overworld glitches, because you can just save and quit out of the cave and then just do another Heraclip. So it's not as bad as it would be without the overworld glitches available to you.
Alright, Spiral Cave check, another big 20. And now Furaime is heading back for the old man and will be rewarded with bacon.
A little bit later than he would have liked, but all is well. Just some more cash in the bottom of Paradox Cave. Now, once we're done with Death Mountain here, we need to start thinking about going in the Dark World, and the main things that are open to us with Mirror in hand are the Pyramid Ferry and Skull Woods, for the most part.
Red Shield and Silver Arrows in Paradox Cave. Furaime is going to show us Graveyard Ledge. Now, the thing to keep in mind with the fact that we're talking about the Dark World and we don't have the Moon Pearl is that a lot of this is involving Super Bunny state as well as a bunny revival if you die as a bunny in a dungeon.
Now, there is a bit of a quirk when you do that bunny revival, because if Aghanim is still alive and you have the mirror, then the game will think you're also in the light world while also on that dark world screen, and this is something we call fake dark world. So, since the game thinks you're in light world, if you move off of that overworld screen, it will try to resolve you and put you back into where it thinks you should be. Otherwise, you can do everything you want on the fake Dark World screen as a Link proper. So managing which world you're in is actually pretty important in this sort of seed.
And we're actually seeing from Ozipone, looks like he's setting up the clip to go into, well, he was gonna do Pyramid. No, okay, my bad.
Yeah, he was doing a variation where he's able to kind of use the wrapped map from the Heraclip to bring himself down to the lower part of, or just by where the Sanctuary would be, but his camera was a bit off, and so he needed to mirror to the light world, then go into Sanctuary to fix it. And the reason you really want to fix it is because when your camera is off on the overworld, it's very easy to get yourself into a hard lock, where you just kind of run into a transition in the middle of the screen. The game just does not like that.
Alright, so we're going to see a Super Bunny state check where Ozipone is using the mirror to basically get the Super Bunny state to check the chest in the C-shaped house.
And usually you can check to see if you have the Super Bunny state by trying to slash your sword. Or by trying to dash. Now, it only lasts until you go back to the overworld again, so if he wants to go check the chest game, for instance, he's got to go do that again. He is going to go ahead and pick up the sick kid item while he's here.
And now we're seeing Furaime go into the Dark World.
This looks like a trip to the pyramid. Now, this is kind of strange because the game keeps track of Link's position in two ways, locally and globally. And you can see that he kind of jumped down the map and stayed on Death Mountain. That was the local being the same, but the global also changed. So where he put his mirror is actually over in the castle courtyard right now. So he's just got to make his way down there and enter the portal while facing up, and then he'll be able to go into the Pyramid Ferry with Super Bunny already active. And because he did a Death Mountain descent there, it kind of messes up with Link's position in relation to where the holes are, and so he gets an automatic Houlihan out of it, which puts him right outside of Link's house.
Very nicely done by Furaime and articulated by you, Tojo.
Uh-oh, he's not facing up. He's gonna get mirror bonked here.
Yep.
Meanwhile, ozipone is heading into Skull Woods now. Getting ourselves a map check. We've got pendants all along the left side.
We also got 5-6 crystals at Turtle Rock and Swamp, but as we saw from that mirror clip, you don't need them to get into Pyramid Ferry, which apparently had a Quake medallion.
Oh, be careful, ozipone. You don't want to die on the overworld here.
Alright, so now Ozipone's gonna kill himself, and that will revive him as normal Link. And Pyramid Ledge has the Moon Pearl.
So that's going to be pretty handy for Furaime here. Meanwhile, it looks like he's going to go check Escape for now, as well as Uncle, because he hasn't done that yet. I haven't seen any items out of Skull Woods yet. Have you seen anything like rupees or anything like that? Okay, so it's just been small keys, maps, and compasses. That's a bit unfortunate. There's not too much more you can check, just the big key chest past the money room up ahead. Otherwise, he's got to go and do his own clip to the Pyramid Ferry.
And there's the big key, so you gotta imagine Ozipone will head back and check the big chest. Our tracker Reg pointing out that Ozipone did get $300 in the first chest in Skullwoods. We must have missed. I missed that as well.
We do find the mushroom in Escape here, and Ozipone needs to be a bit careful here. There's our second item out of Skull, so it's unlikely we'll return there later. And there's the bow!
Are you serious?
Then.
I'm sorry, that was exactly where the bow was in race number 1!
Really?
I'm stunned right now.
Oh, and we just missed Ozipone doing the King's Tomb clip, where he's actually able to pick up the Dark Rock even though you don't have the mitts because you're confusing the game between picking up both the rock and the bush at the same time. So that little bit of interesting thing there. But yeah, finding the bow is pretty huge here. It allows for a pretty substantial clear of Palace of Darkness.
And while you were explaining that, it was the ice rod that was in King's Tomb. Which means we're gonna have to find Titan's mitts before. Logically, we need to find the Titan's mitts in order to beat Trinex.
No, we have access to that now with the mirror.
Or that. I forgot. My bad. There I go, misspeaking again.
So nothing really substantial out of Hype Cave there. We were much more productive in the Light World variation. So Furaime is opting to take the south loop around and will be clipping up into Village of Outcasts as soon as he's done with the digging game, I assume. Ozipone opting to take a death so that his portal stays in the Hyrule Castle courtyard. So that is an intentional death there.
Alright, so Furaime is gonna clip into the mire area. Gonna check Checkerboard Cave at that point.
And I hope he can get back to his portal there. That's a bit sketchy.
Ozipone also getting near bonked and hammer in Checkerboard Cave.
Wow. I'm amazed at how well Furaime's routing is helping him here. It's just, everything is turning up in front of him here.
Alright, Ether is needed for Mire, but Mire is a pendant, so... so far, we've got the medallion if we need to get in, but again, we may not need to go in at all. Alright, so also looks like Ozipone's gonna do front of escape, and well, he hasn't done Uncle also, so hopefully he'll get the bow as well. Furaime's gonna clip out of Mire.
How many digs have we got today? It's a random number between 1 and 30, although it will be the same for both runners.
We're halfway there. 16 for a 5-arrow capacity upgrade.
Okay, so he chose not to clip into Village of Outcasts from there. Maybe he's thinking about checking other things, or is just going to do some Death Mountain descents to get there instead.
Looks like with that hammer, maybe... Oh, maybe Spike Cave?
Yeah, Spike Cave is a possibility with Glove, Hammer, and Cape, but instead it looks like we're going to go check some stuff on the east side of Dark World Death Mountain. We do also have that mushroom to turn in that we found here in Escape. Oh, I see what Furaime is doing now. He's going through all these East Dark World Death Mountain, and then he'll go clip down to Catfish, and then clip into Pod and complete it the dungeon that way, then probably mirror to Eastern and complete that. So he's trying to link together a whole bunch of things all at once here.
That makes sense.
So I wonder if ozipone is going to opt to go for Hype Cave all the way over and get his hammer, or is he just going to... He's going straight for Pod. So unfortunately, he's not going to be able to complete the dungeon and will not find the hammer there.
And instead of going to Catfish like you thought, Furaime is going to mirror and head into Turtle Rock. Now we know he won't be able to complete it because we know the Ice Rod's at King's Tomb.
And beyond that, we're missing the Fire Rod, as well as the Cane of Samaria.
Alright, so into Turtle Rock we go. So unfortunately for both of our runners, they're going into a dungeon that we know they cannot complete, given that items needed for both of those dungeons are in other locations.
And really, there's only a few places that Furaime can check here, lacking the cane. It's just the big key chest and shops. And maybe the big chest if he finds the big key in here.
Alright, so Ozipone's gonna do Eastern first, which he will be able to full clear.
It makes sense, because he might find the hammer here and then be able to fully complete Pod, rather than have to dip out of the dungeon prematurely.
Unfortunately, we know it's a checkerboard cave.
Ooh, and gets sniped by the chomp.
Press F to pay respects.
Looks like he's going for it again.
So far, we found 2 items in Eastern so far. A big love and a little love.
Round 2 with the chomps.
Gets a piece of heart, locked out of the front.
Find the compass in the big chest, so looks like Ozipone is going to go do the loop around to get the big key chest out of Eastern. Meanwhile, Furaime is trying to mirror to the light world here, and maybe he's going to go up to the Turtle Rock portal and continue going through Catfish to Pod.
We'll have to see what medallion we will need to get into Turtle Rock. We have not seen that yet. Or did we? No, we didn't. He never went. He was there, but never went and checked. He just clipped right in.
Right. And it's likely that we don't even need the medallion to enter Turtle Rock anyway from that side. Getting a little bit squirrel blocked there. And we get the map out of the big key chest in Eastern, so the last item was on Armos the whole time.
Oh, and actually, we're forgetting, he doesn't have the Cane of Samaria. He can open Turtle Rock, but he can't get in there. He can't get in, he can't go in any further anyway.
Well, unless he hovers, but I doubt he's going to go for that.
And it's Ether, so he can open it with Ether, and I know, Furaime, I don't know if he can hover. I know in opportunities he could, he hasn't, so this is probably the end of the Turtle Rock line for him.
But keeping that entrance open is going to make getting those front chests a bit easier once he does have the Cane of Samaria and Fire Rod.
Catfish holding a heart container.
Meanwhile, we've got the Armos fight with Silver Arrows, so this should be over pretty quickly.
Just a couple shots, but gets it done. For the Bombos Medallion.
Well, that opens up Ice Palace. Well, not logically yet. We still need the mitts for that. But we could get in there with a Mirror Wrap.
Furaime gonna turn in the mushroom and use a mirror bonk to basically go off screen. And let's see what the mushroom holds. The flute!
A nice luxury item. Not required in any way.
Nah, it's pretty much useless in this mode. Well, not useless, but logically speaking.
Now, he still has to go over and activate it, but he hasn't been to the Village of Outcasts yet, so it's not too bad or out of the way for him at this point.
And to your earlier point, we are going to see him now attempt to clip into the pod area.
So unfortunately for Ozipone, he's going to be able to clear out all the chests here, but won't be able to fight Helmasaur. And we'll have to make a return trip later.
It'll be interesting though, because we're still on the lookout for a hook shot, which we need for Swamp Palace. We need the flippers for Swamp Palace, Fire Rod for Turtle Rock, and Cane of Samaria for Turtle Rock as well. So we're still 4 items from go mode.
And one thing that could be in the back of our players' minds, especially after going through this dungeon, should I go into Ganon's Tower? Because that is something that is available to us, and with the hammer, we could at least check a few chests on the left side, and if we're willing to do some bomb jumps, clear out that entire left side in one go.
Both of these runners are capable and have both done said bomb jumps in order to check the left side, as we see Ozipone setting up a hammer yump.
While Furaime forgot to check his key count before going for the big key chest.
Burn a key to get a key. Alright, we got a lesser cane in the dark maze.
Not really finding anything of use in this dungeon so far.
Yeah. And that's it for Ozipone. Out he goes.
He still has to check the right side, but Furaime has already checked that, so we're pretty much done with this dungeon, and it seems that Furaime is opting to go straight for the boss before clearing out the back end with the big chest, the dark maze, and all that.
But to your earlier point, I mean, with all those locations in Ganon's Tower, even though we're missing... Whoa! Okay. Vanilla Big Key has the Titan's Mitts.
Alright, so that makes getting the Smith and Purple Chest easier, as well as access to Ice Palace. But Ozipone needs to go to Checkerboard Cave sometime soon here to pick up the hammer. I don't know if he's going to wind up checking it before dipping into Thieves Town or not. So this could be a bit of a problem, depending on which way he decides to go.
Alright, down goes Helmusar. And just a compass for your troubles. Alright, we saw Ozipone as Super Bunny check, Chess Game, and C-Shaped House. Brewery has another B-Torp.
Actually, we might wind up seeing a Froggy World tour out of Ozipone here. Because he hasn't... No, he did Hype Cave already, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Could have sworn he did.
Yeah, he did.
Okay, so maybe not much of one.
I wouldn't be surprised if Ozipone goes down and checks Meyer Shed and Checkerboard, and then he might be thinking he'll then come back up and do the Smith chain, but we know he's about to find a hammer once he gets to Checkerboard Cave.
That is, if he remembers to mirror to it. Oh, and he gets out before the dig game timer runs out. That's always a good feeling.
And Ozipone will be getting that hammer.
Now, there are some people speculating on who is ahead right now, and while, yes, Furaime does have Helmusor dead right now, Ozipone also has fully cleared out Eastern in addition to that, so outside of just the Helmusor boss, he's already cleared out those two dungeons, and Furaime's going to have to take the time to run through them. Uh-oh. I don't think you meant to do that jump there.
No.
Alright, so Furaime is entering into Eastern Palace, while Ozipone, where are you going to go now?
Oh,
he hasn't done Hype Cave.
Alright, add that to the list of wrong things I've said in this race. You'd think I would learn eventually.
Okay, so I imagine that Ozipone was planning on ending the Froggy World Tour at Hype Cave there, but that unfortunate jump got in the way. I think he's thinking about doing a fake flute here to go up to, or is he going to go into Ice Palace right now? Oh, I think we're seeing the Ice Palace mirror wrap here.
That certainly looks like what he's trying to do.
trying to get the spin speed to go through the cliff here. He could just dash buffer it, but he's trying to get the spin speed. It's a pretty small window here. You have to be on one of 2 pixels in order to actually walk down the cliff or into the cliff side.
There you go.
Now he's got to get himself right to the edge because he needs to mirror on the same frame as the transition. And now here he has to be very careful. If he goes up too high, he winds up hard locking the game. But he gets it just fine. And now we're in Ice Palace as soon as you get the entrance.
All right. Now, logically, we'll need to find a small key in one of the first 3 chests in order for this to be full clearable, but with both runners being able to do bomb jumps, ozipone will almost assuredly be full clearing this dungeon.
Ooh, he's got to watch his health, only down to 2 hearts. He does still have the blue potion, though.
And there's that small key that logically means you can full clear Ice Palace now.
Looks like ozipone is going to use that blue potion pretty early on here. Not wanting to die at some point when trying to do the bomb jumps, so... Alright, now Armos Knights is down for Furaime, so that's Eastern Palace down. Where is he going to go next? It kind of depends on where he chooses to save and quit, too. Alright, so ozipone gets the Ice Palace bomb jump.
So, Sanctuary is where Furaime is headed.
Could be checking King's Tomb right now.
Yep,
which will net him the Ice Rod.
Yep.
ozipone is playing Ice Palace very carefully here, trying to minimize the amount of damage that he's taking, not choosing to go for any of the damage boosts to speed up at all.
Especially with green mail and only having 8 hearts, 2 hits and you're done. All right, ladies and gentlemen, at this time to honor Hyrule, we ask that you join us for the playing of the National Swag Duck Anthem. And the Hawk's about to rock, and we salute you. Ozipone does decide to damage boost there. Only taking 1 heart of damage, though.
That's our first item out of Ice Palace, out of the 3 that would be in here. So there's still a couple more to find.
There's the big key and iced tea room.
Good that they went to go check for it then and not having to do a long loop around and then Well, I guess it's not too much of a long loop back. But it prevents a couple of unnecessary transitions at the very least. Having a little bit of trouble on the ice here. I imagine that ozipone is going to stock up on a fairy, or at least get healed by a fairy, before dropping into Cold Stare.
Meanwhile, Furaime is heading independent Thieves Town. I imagine he'll check at least the first 4 chests, but we'll see where he goes from there. Second item in ice being a heart container, so that will get him to 9, which will give him 3 hits on Cold Stare.
That's actually a pretty significant health upgrade there because of the extra hit, and we find the book as the last item in Ice Palace.
And Blue Mail in Thieves Town, and Furaime says that's enough, I'm heading out.
Now, that means that there's still 2 items in Thieves Town. They're just all the way in the back of the dungeon.
Chad also pointing out it is also the green pendant, so there's actually 3 items in the back of the dungeon.
That's fair.
Alright, ozipone is down to 1 heart. Gonna use cape strats, but doesn't get Cold Stare in a corner, so gonna have to do it the hard way.
Thank goodness for half magic, otherwise this would have been a much scarier fight. There's still a little bit left, and he's starting to run low, but I think he's gonna have enough for it.
Yep, down goes Cold Stare. And that will be crystal number 4 for ozipone.
Smith's with a bomb upgrade.
Alright, so we're still looking for Hookshot, Fire Rod, and Canis Samaria. See where ozipone heads next.
Not correcting his camera. Oh, no, he is going to correct his camera, so he could be going to east side of Death Mountain from here. But first, check the ether tablet because he just got that book. Meanwhile, Furaime looks like he's going to go into Ice Palace using a fake flipper. And ozipone hopping by Spike Cave. Not interested in doing that yet. But instead is going to hop into Ganon's Tower.
"22 normal locations where the big key can be in Overworld glitches. We'll also be seeing the almost never checked Ganon's Tower big chest. Powder and a heart container to start in Ganon's Tower.
Powder is a very nice item to have. Just a piece of heart on the torch, and we continue a little bit deeper for the left side. Now, any bomb jumps that we do wind up having to do on this side are logically going to be hookshot locked. So this could reveal some information as to where the hookshot is.
But the double fire bar room down below, because you can bonk to it, that one will be in logic. And there's the big key. I gotta say, now that I'm thinking about it, unless this is the hook shot, which it's not, it's an empty bottle, that probably is not a thing any of these runners want to see, because that pretty much means the hook shot can be anywhere.
To an extent, yes, but we haven't seen the upstairs of GT. Now, it could be anywhere up there. Oh, wait, no, it can't because of the GT big key.
Exactly, that's what
so it can't be upstairs. And we know that it can't be on Argus. It could be in Swamp right now. It could also be in Misery Mire.
It could even be on the pedestal.
That it could. Although we would need to find the Cane of Samaria first, and if that were the case, we would also check Turtle Rock. And there's our Fire Rod.
So that is also hookshot locked. So that tells us it's not in Turtle... Well...
There's a couple of chests that's not in Turtle Rock, and it also can't be on Trinix.
Right. Okay, Randomizer Room is the other location that's hookshot locked. So other than 6 bombs and a bomb upgrade and 20 bucks. So Fire Rod and the GT Big Key are the only things thus far that we know are going to be locked by the hookshot at this point.
And now these next few chests, well, actually the big chest is also hookshot locked at this point, but the Ice Armos chest and Bob's chest are potentially either hookshot or cane locked.
Well, no, it's both. Because that's the thing with the Fire Rod being locked by the hookshot, you can't go, and logically speaking, you can't go right side without the Fire Rod. It doesn't presume you can do the bomb jumps to do it. So actually, in some ways, this is the end of the road.
Yeah, that you're actually right. That does mean that everything behind Ice Armos here is in fact hookshot locked. Granted, we didn't really find anything, but it was still good information to have. Now, despite the upstairs being hookshot locked, the upstairs is not necessarily cane locked, so we could find the Cane of Samaria up there.
Yeah, it just depends on where the hookshot is. Alright, so I imagine Ozipone's heading for Turtle Rock at this point. Alright, Furaime has Cold Stare down. That will be crystal number 5 for Furaime. Someone in chat are also pointing out Fire Rod being hookshot locked means hookshot can't be on the pedestal because you needed to finish. You need that Fire Rod to finish Skullwoods. So pretty much at this point, it looks like flippers are the only thing that could be left on the pedestal.
And I imagine that Furaime is going to do the same thing that Ozipone did for Ganon's Tower, as Ozipone is clearing out Turtle Rock just as Furaime did earlier. And here we get our Spike Cave check, which we did not see out of Ozipone. Just $100 though. Okay, so now Ozipone is doing the Mimic Cave check. As Furaime is going to go for a Ganon's Tower clip.
We'll most likely get his fire rod also, as well as the powder. All right, so
at this point, I think I might actually... No, you can't really dip into Swamp, not without the flippers, so maybe the answer is Misery Mire. Outside of these couple of one-offs like the Bat Cave and the Bombos Tablet.
You know what I would probably do if I'm Ozipone? Is well, he's not going to do what I'm thinking I'd probably go check that pedestal. Because right now...
the pedestal can only logically have the flippers as far as things that we would need.
Yeah, but right now, okay, and I'm the type of runner that likes to have as much information as possible. And right now, we're staring at an incompletable swamp. And while Mire is still incompletable, the only dungeons we can complete are pendant dungeons. And if I'm about to risk doing pendant dungeons, I would want the knowledge of, do I have, is the flipper, pedestal on flippers on pedestal, and if so, I would want to know that information.
Yeah, I can see the point in that, where you might not necessarily want to commit to killing the bosses if you find all the other items there. So, knowing that you do actually need to commit to the bosses is potentially a good piece of info to have.
Yeah, because, like, for example, right now in Skullwoods, we know the two items are in the front portion. So, knowing that the pedestal doesn't have anything, you can pretty much then safely know, I don't need to kill Mothula, because I know it's not... we don't have pedestal flippers, and I've already found the two items.
And also whatever you're looking for is not locked by the Cane of Samaria, potentially. Depends on where the items in Misery Mire wind up, but it's certainly a less likely chance.
Okay, so Sky High Rollins is asking, please explain why the hookshot can't be on pedestal. The issue is that in the Fire Snake room in Ganon's Tower, that is where the fire rod was. Because you needed the hook shot to get there, and both runners instead bomb jumped to get it. Logically, you need the hook shot to get to that place, and you need the fire rod to kill Mothula, which is a pendant. Therefore, hook shot cannot be on the pedestal.
Alright, so we saw one more item out of Thieves' Town up in the attic, just a bomb upgrade, so there's one remaining plus the green pendant turn-in.
And actually, with not finding the small key, that means it's gonna be in the Thieves' Town big chest, which means Blind has the item.
Alright, it looks like that Furaime is going to go for the Bombos tablet real quick, which is something we haven't seen out of Ozipone. And there's our flippers, which now opens up Swamp Palace.
Which also means Pedestal is dead.
So Ozipone is going to do the Smith Chain now, because he was unable to complete that earlier from an unfortunate overworld jump that left him in a spot where he was likely to be hardlocked, so he had to save and quit out. Meanwhile, Furaime is going to go check the Powder Bat, and I imagine that Ozipone is going to do the same after turning in the Smith here.
Just 50 bucks. All right, so here's essentially where we're getting set up for at this point. Furaime has to finish Thieves' Town, which he's already been in there and done the first 4 chests. But we'll need to go back and complete it. Ozipone will need to finish Pod, went in and did everything but didn't have the hammer to finish Helmasaur. And then from there...
From there, it's either dip into Misery Mire or Hookshotless Swamp. Of course, we still have the green pendant to turn in. That could be Hookshot still, or Kane, for all we know.
Exactly.
And actually, I guess we didn't check... Did we check the bumper ledge? I don't think we did. It was nothing?
Ozipone did when he was in Bunny State, and it was just that heart container.
Okay, I just didn't remember what it was up there, so I was questioning if it had been done.
Yeah, because we've seen the 2, but to the point we were talking about what's left, we've already seen Skullwoods. We know the 2 items in here are in the front, so we don't need to go any further, which means it's pretty much just Hookshotless Swamp Palace or Samaria-less Mire, because both runners have been into Turtle Rock and have gone as far as they can go without the Cane of Samaria at this point.
And neither of those options are really appealing. Looks like Ozipone is opting for Swamp first, just in case the hookshot happens to be in there, then he can go ahead and complete the dungeon all in one go. At least that's the hope.
Or is he doing something else? Could this be Mire? Okay, so he didn't do Stumpy because the way he save and quit the Smith chain. So he does Stumpy, then saves and quit.
I wonder wonder where he's going to go now. Maybe he's remembered that he hasn't done Spike Cave yet?
That's a possibility.
Looks like Furaime is going to do that pedestal check because he hasn't completed Thieves Town for the flippers.
And that's the only thing that can be on the that could be on the pedestal from what he's seen. So I won't even do the Price is Right trombone. I can already tell you. Oh,
yeah, it's okay. A sword.
Okay, I'll do it this way. Because there's no way you're getting that sword.
Granted, we should be fine with the Tempered sword. The jump of power between Master and Tempered is much better than the jump from Tempered to Butter.
Exactly. And looks like Furaime is going to go into Mire.
Meanwhile, ozipone is opting to do the super drop from Death Mountain to go down to the swamp area. Now, he does need to correct his camera here. Though I guess he's going to mirror first. Now, unfortunately, the way he's doing it is going to make the transitions between the overworld and underworld take about a second or so longer each way.
Alright, so to review, we are looking for Hookshot and Cane of Samaria. Both of these dungeons, you need one of those items to complete it, so we are still looking for one or the other. And at this point, I gotta think one of these two dungeons has our next progression.
I think we've done literally everything else.
I think you're right. I mean, I know, like, there's some things like ozipone hasn't done, catfish or mushroom to get the flute. But in terms of, like, the knowledge that we have from the combined runners, it's pretty safe to say either Skull or Swamp Palace or Mire has progression.
Also, at this point, I would call the race pretty much even because Furaime needs to fully complete Thieves Town and ozipone needs to go kill Helmasaur King. So it's pretty close in terms of how much time each of those will take. And those are the major differences between our two runners at this point.
We've already seen one item in Mire, which was that 20 bucks. So what item left to find in Mire? We haven't seen any items yet in Swamp Palace. Swagnet. Oh, we have ozipone still hasn't checked Sahasrahla.
Okay, so that's one thing that's still outstanding.
Alright, so unless ozipone finds the big key, we've got 2 checks left in Swamp Palace.
And I think Furaime is going for the last chest in Mire here, the cutscene chest. This is going to be the last thing that Furaime can do in Misery Mire, and ozipone is nearing the end of what he can do in Swamp Palace. So one of these things has got to be what we need. Either that or it's a Hazrela.
Alright. Vanilla Big Key Chest in Meyer. Treble Bombs, Meyer was a bust.
And for left side swamp, we have the hook shot.
Okay! Swamp was the play. So logically speaking, that puts us back in terms of everything.
Although this now opens up the Cane of Samaria for being an upstairs GT.
It also could be in Hookshot Cave. We haven't seen either runner. I don't think either runner can hover, so we haven't seen the rest of Hookshot Cave.
Yeah, just the bonk chest. Looks like Furaime is dipping back into Thieves Town. I think that's pretty much the only thing he can do. So he's going to finish out this dungeon, get the flippers, and we'll see if he goes to check Sahazrala or dip into Swamp first. Ozipone having a little bit of trouble picking up that pot. Didn't get the hook dash to guarantee the pickup. I wonder if Ozipone is going to turn around if he finds the big key here to open up the big chest. It could very well be on Argus, which would mean a guaranteed dip back in. So we'll see if... Well, there's one more spot for the big key to be, where he can actually turn around and get it, but at this point it may be just faster to finish the dungeon, then go back inside and open up the big chest as a second trip.
He thought about it, and now I think he's deciding he's gonna go for it. We've seen the map, right?
I haven't been keeping track, honestly. We'll definitely be able to see based on the inventory screen, because I imagine he's going to menu to the Fire Rod or the Silvers for the second phase, so we can keep our eye out on whether or not the maps and compasses have been found yet. Opting to go for the Zero Cycle, gets snagged a little bit in there, so unable to fully get it.
Still gets a 1 cycle, and yes, he did get the map, so the big chest will have an item. Very quick phase 2 for Ozipone on Argus. 50 bucks for your troubles, and crystal number 5 for him.
Alright, very nice scripted fight of Blind. And there's the flippers and the green pendant for Furaime. And Ozipone is almost up to the swamp big chest here. There's the cane!
1 hour, 24 minutes, 8 seconds. Ozipone is in go mode.
So, unfortunately, that dip into Meyer is going to cost Furaime quite a bit. So, where is Ozipone going? He's got everything he needs. Why is he coming to this portal? I guess this is the fastest way you could think of getting to Palace of Darkness.
He
Perhaps.
doesn't have the flute, so he can't just flute to 5.
Well, he still could have gone to the portal by 5, which actually is not as isn't really that much further out of the way. So either way, he's heading to Pod to go finish off Helmasaur there.
Then I imagine finish off Trinex, and then go from there. Because actually, I was thinking about it. I was remembering that no one ever checked the one chest in the roller room in front of the dark maze, but since I don't think we found the big key in I don't think we found the big key in Turtle Rock thus far. I think it has to be in that front portion, which is going to be blocked by the
Cane of Samaria, yeah. It's definitely blocked up there.
The medallion door, that's what I was getting at.
That's why I find this play to Laser Bridge a bit puzzling from Furaime, because he knows that the Fire Rod is blocked by Hookshot, or he should know. And since he hadn't found the big key yet in Turtle Rock, would know that the big key is in the front of the dungeon, because it can't be back here. I guess maybe he was just checking to see if possibly the hookshot was cane locked or something.
That's probably got to be the only thing I can think of, because, like, okay, I don't run this. I don't know how to do the overworld glitches. If I'm following what you're saying, that may have been pretty much okay, I've done everything and I had to go finish Thieves Town to go get the flippers. This is the only, if I go to Swamp Palace, which is my only logical play at this point, I know I'm going to be behind. So this is the one other sequence break I could potentially do to maybe boost myself ahead.
Right, to try to find the hook shot on Laser Bridge there, and thus be able to do Swamp all in one go, if the hook shot didn't wind up in Swamp Palace.
Unfortunately, it did, and the King of Samaria is in the big chest. So at this point, it is pretty much going to be linear from here, because once ozipone finishes off Helmasaur, he's effectively got a dungeon lead on Furaime.
And there isn't too much of the game left. We still need the big key for Turtle Rock, but once you find it, you can wind up just going and shortcutting bits of the dungeon out. Such as either just going to the middle room where the big chest is. So there's certainly a lot that you can cut out of the dungeon, and then we just have upstairs GT after that.
Alright, you're the glitches expert. So let me ask you this. You go up to the top, you find that the big key is going to be in the front portion. Do you, A, continue on and finish the dungeon as normal, B, go out and clip yourself into the second floor, essentially, to get at where the big chest is, or 3, do you do the mirror wrap to get to Laser Bridge?
Well, I would do 3, but a variation on it, where instead of going for the mirror wrap, which would involve doing another clip up from the lower portion of Death Mountain just under GT, I would instead do the clip that Furaime was practicing at the just before this run started, and go to Laser Bridge that way. But I would definitely go straight to Laser Bridge rather than dealing with all the other conveyors or the Dark Maze or anything like that. Of course, that does depend on what small keys I have. And Furaime also clearing out that last section. I don't know. There's probably a small key up in the front, so you should be fine with that to open up the small door just before Trinix there.
All right, into Turtle Rock we go.
Now, if Ozipone doesn't go straight to the laser bridge, he does need to have 2 small keys in his possession in order to get all the way down. At the very least. There's small key, so we'll be fine on keys. And then we know that the big key has to be in that one last little chest with the eye that kind of blocks you, and you have to face away from it.
So Ozipone mirrors out.
As Furaime is going towards the back of Swamp. Looks like Ozipone is going to do the mirror wrap method. And just go straight to Laser Bridge. Gets the quick way up, so we can just hop to the left here. Oh, he didn't hop, so now he's got to adjust to be at the edge of the screen. Alright, so he gets the mirror wrap. Now he's just got to enter the dungeon from the door here and bomb it open.
Alright, so as Furaime is going to be heading into Argus, Ozipone is going to be heading into Trinex and getting crystal number 7.
And if it weren't for the cutscene that's right outside GT, it would actually be worth it to just run from the entrance of Turtle Rock over. But because of that cutscene, you're probably better off just going for a GT clip.
Alright. That's 6 crystals for Furaime. And with Trinex down, that will be crystal number 7 for Ozipone. So, there are 22 locations where the Ganon's Tower Big Key could be in the basement of Ganon's Tower. Too bad both runners have already been in Ganon's Tower, and we know it's number 4 in the Stalfo's room. So, sorry, chat.
No Big Key game for today. We get to just go bypass right on by, head upstairs, and go through the gauntlet.
Alright, now Furaime is into go mode.
So he still needs to go get that big key out of the front of Turtle Rock before going to Laser Bridge.
And to your earlier point, Ozipone is just going to use the clip to get into GT without going through the cutscene.
considering the equipment that we have at this point, granted we don't really have a full complement of potions, we still have powder and nets, some bottles, red mail, plenty of hearts, silver arrows, tempered sword. We should be fine up here in GT.
Shouldn't have any problems from here. To your point, the randomization is pretty much done, and it's going to come down to execution. And I gotta say, barring some catastrophe on Ozipone's side, realistically, both of these races have just kind of come down to routing decisions and the way things were, way both of the runners both check things. In terms of execution, it has been pretty close. So if we have a game 3, you definitely want to make sure you stay tuned, because this has been highly entertaining to watch both of the first 2 races.
Okay, we see Furaime going for the option I would have chosen to go from Turtle Rock to Laser Bridge. Just to show off this brand new clip here. Ozipone getting a little bit rocked here at the end of the gauntlet, down to 2.5 hearts. But he's got the powder and there's a bunny beam up ahead, so he should be fine for a bit here. Having a little bit of trouble hitting these Landmolas. While Furaime took a fall at the start of the long hallway there before Trinix.
Lammo 2 down for Ozipone.
And down to the last head of Trinix. While Ozipone goes through the Whiz Robes.
Very nice execution from both of our runners.
Now we're finally into the upper portions of GT, where the chests lie, just before Moldorm 2. Furaime does need to go into Ganon's Tower and go through the entirety of the gauntlet.
And Furaime is gonna opt to, well, was looking like he was gonna opt for the cutscene, but instead just walks right past and gonna clip in as well.
Cutscenes are slow. We like to skip them when we can.
Exactly. Alright.
Moldorm 2 down.
$20 in Trolldorm's possession. Remember, chat, don't be a thief. Don't steal things that don't belong to you. But as Furaime heads into the gauntlet, Ozipone heads into the Geometry Wars.
Ooh, not a great first pattern here. Gets only a single hit. I think that second hit wouldn't have counted. Gets 2 more on the second cycle. Oh, that looked like a triple to me. But I guess it wasn't.
They both hit. Yeah, it looked like they both hit at the same time, but either way, Ozipone has Aga 2 down, and it is time for the big pig.
just 12 slashes, or combinations of spins thereof, to get through the first 2 phases each. Doesn't quite get the 1+1. I think he snuck that 12th hit in there right at the end. So we're on to phase 3. Just 4 hits here.
Man, these Ganon teleports have been very friendly thus far. Well, there's the teleports.
Just a couple. And now we're in the 4th phase. Just need 4 silver arrows here.
Gets one, misses the torch glitch. Got 1 on that first setup. So gonna
Torch
teleport.
glitch isn't really that necessary for these, but
no,
oh,
no.
misses.
When you got silver arrows, you can afford to miss it.
Just needs 2 more shots here, and gets the double.
So that should do it. Just got to avoid the 3-block wide bridge, which ozipone will, and that will force a game 3 in this semi-finals of the Overworld Glitches tournament. And with that, ozipone finishes with an official SRTV time of 1 hour, 42 minutes, and 5 seconds. Spam those GGs in chat. Now, unfortunately for us, both ozipone and Furaime do not have working mics, so we will unfortunately not be able to get both of them in for an interview. But as Furaime heads up to AGA 2, like I mentioned earlier, this race just came down to, because Furaime did not go do Thieves Town, he was forced into checking Mire, which had nothing. ozipone, having done the Thieves Town check, got the flippers, so could check Swamp, and that was really the difference in the race.
Yeah, because all the other things just kind of wound up where they could follow each other for the most part, and find the missing items that the other had already found. Because for a while there, it looked like that Furaime's route was working out very well, finding the bow and the hammer pretty quickly, and was able to take out Pod in 1 shot. But then that dip into Mire kind of threw him for a loop.
I do have to say, in both of these races, the bow has been in Zelda's cell. If I see Zelda's cell having the bow in race number 3, I'm gonna think there's a conspiracy here.
You should talk to Vitor.
Alright, Furaime is already into phase 2 and gonna be in phase 3 very shortly. Now we do have Furaime and ozipone in the text chat, so feel free to ask any questions of both the runners, but like I said, I mean, this has been very entertaining to see how close it's been in both of these 2 races. Game number 3, you definitely do not want to miss.
And a very quick phase 4.
Very nice triple from Furaime. And with that, Furaime finishes with an official SRTV time of 1 hour, 44 minutes, and 52 seconds. Get those GGs in again. I mean, again, right there, you just saw the execution. Furaime had that triple on AGA 2 and the triple on Ganon. It was, I mean, again, it has been a pleasure to watch both of these runners through both of these races.
Yeah, there's certainly a lot of interesting things you can do with the overworld glitches in terms of how you decide to sequence things together. So it's definitely a very fun mode to play once you get the basics of it down.
I'm gonna see about checking with Furaime, because the one question we did have is that we did see Furaime try to go to Laser Bridge before going to Swamp, and even when not having the cane or that, and
I mean, it's basically down to just hedging your bets on needing to double dip Swamp, I guess, was just doing a quick check of that.
Yeah, and to his point, what he's saying is, chatting is exactly kind of what we suspected, was on the off chance that the Cane of Samaria was in Swamp and then the hook shot was on Laser Bridge, trying to do that sequence break to try to maybe get ahead. But fortunately, unfortunately, that's not how it worked out. So, Tojo, any final thoughts from you?
I'm looking forward to Game 3. This is exciting.
Absolutely. But again, both of you, all of chat, give both of Ozipone and Furaime follows on Twitch. We can't hype it enough how much they have been entertaining for both of us. Special shout outs to Reg, our tracker, for keeping track of all of the items and madness that was going on in this seed. Props to you. And Tojo, once again, it was a pleasure to have you in the booth with me, especially with you having all the glitches logic that I do not possess.
Yeah, it's definitely been fun. This was a lot of fun to commentate with you.
Yes, it was a pleasure to have you along. So, also, shout outs and thanks to the Speed Gaming staff for putting on all of these tournaments and for keeping the lights on here. If you feel so inclined, we would definitely appreciate your subs or bit donations. All that money goes to putting on all this entertainment that you get to see here live on Twitch. And with that, I think that's going to do it for us. We will see you next mission.
Catch you all later.